everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's video is another favorites video. It's been a couple weeks since you've seen one of these, but it is another favorites video and we are talking about blush. I love blush. I am definitely more of a bronzer girl, but lately I have really leaned into the blush life and I have some longtime favorites here, some new favorites here. It's mostly Creme. That's just who I am. I love every single one of these formulas and I stand by them. They are incredible all around and I cannot wait to continue to talk about them. Before we get into it, make sure that you have subscribed to me on YouTube and make sure that you ring the bell so that you can be notified when I upload on YouTube, which, you know, usually happens on Fridays and occasionally happens Saturday, Sunday, one of those. Also make sure that you're following me on social media, which will be popping up right here below me so you can check me out on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok because I'm cool like that. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm debating on where to actually start. I think I'm gonna start, because I have a good mix of high-end and some drugstore. I think I'm gonna go ahead, start with drugstore. Just gonna, because I have them set up into little categories here, you know? Okay, let's just do it. First up, and I will say this is a good one to start with because it's like an old favorite. I have been loving on this blush for a few years, honestly. It is the Honest Beauty Cream Cheek Blush. That's what they're technically called. I have the shade Rose Pink here. It's just a really nice neutral pink shade. It's one of the only like cooler tone pinks that I like. I'm very, very picky when it comes to pinks. Where am I gonna start swatching? I tend to do it in my hand because I can show you better. Because with your arm, it's like, I don't know. I'll just, whatever, put it in my hand. This is a really pretty pink color and I'm very picky when it comes to the color pink in general. On my cheeks, I tend to prefer warmer colors, but sometimes a look calls for a pink on your cheeks, you know? And this is one that I really enjoy. This formula is beautiful. I think it is foolproof. There is not a person on this planet who couldn't just take a little bit of this onto their finger and blend it out onto their cheeks. I'm not gonna add more blush every time I talk about one because by the end of this, I'll just be a full face of blush. And it's not cute. But this formula is so, so beautiful, so easy to blend. It is just perfect all the way around. Did I say what the shade was called? It's called Rose Pink if I didn't say that yet. But I pretty much recommend any of the shades. This is just the particular shade that I have and I don't have a Target super close to me that sells these in person and I like to see shades in person and stuff and I just kind of keep forgetting. But I would like to pick up another shade of this at the very least because this formula, it's beautiful. It's a classic. It would work on anybody. It's not like an overly dewy cream blush. I think it's very beautiful and it's a very natural kind of a flush. So that's that one. Moving on to something else that I've also had for quite a while. This is something that I literally picked up the moment that they released it a couple years ago. This is the Flower Beauty Blush Bombs and they are beautiful. This is obviously from Flower Beauty, as I said, which is a drugstore brand. You can find them at CVS, online at Ulta, and in Kroger. I've actually seen them in store in Kroger. But these blush bombs are gorgeous. They are very sheer and dewy. And I think they're great because they are sheer, so they're really nice to like just slowly build up. You can just really just put on a sheer layer if you're not a super blushy blush person. And if you're like, I like that level of blush, leave it there. But also you can really build it up to be a really gorgeous, dewy cheek. I think they're just beautiful. Also, the packaging is great because they have this little applicator and it really does not make a mess on the inside of the cap. It takes a long time for it to make a mess in there and it's just great. I have the shades Pinched and Cinnamon and I love them very much. These are a classic for me. Something that I will literally have in my collection till the day they discontinue it and hurt my feelings. Please, Drew Barrymore, don't do that to me, please. If you didn't know, that's who owns Flower Beauty. So this is a blush that I have recently fallen in love with that also is new to the market as well. It's only been out for a couple months. And that you guys saw me mention in last week's video, right? But a recent discovery that I love very deeply, and you guys saw how obsessed I was with this when I first mentioned it. It's the e.l.f. Putty Blushes. I didn't bring all of the shades out here because you guys already know the shades that I have if you've seen that e.l.f. video. If you haven't, you should go watch it right now and catch up. And then you'll know. Let me just, I also forgot, I should probably zoom in. Just so you can like really see stuff that I swatched. Just a little bit. Anyway, I just brought out my 3, if I had to pick only a couple shades, because I have like 5. I have 5 shades, I think, and there are 8 shades total. But these are just my current favorites, and I feel like they'll change with time, you know, like I feel like I'll like Fiji more in the summertime, and then in the wintertime I like more like brownie berry blushes. In the summertime, like give me that bright orange flush on my face kind of a thing. But anyway, I just brought out 3 shades. What's annoying about these is they don't have the shades named anywhere on them, but I just know them because I'm just good like that, and I just have a good memory. This deepest one is called Maldives. And then we have Bali, and then this brighter, orangier one. It's really like a nudie orange. It's really pretty. Is Bahamas, yeah. But these are really beautiful. They are very different for me as far as a blush formula that I like. They are a matte finish. They're very, very creamy though. They're very, very easy to blend and stuff. I didn't bring a mirror out here, but I could just like, this is a good color for my look, so I'm just gonna apply a little bit. This is why I love cream blush, is because you don't necessarily have to have a specific tool for it. You can just use your fingers and it just looks flawless. Anyway, the point is, I love this formula. It's really, really beautiful. It's really, really easy to wear. It's such nice sheer pigment that's easy to build up and blend out on the face with whatever you prefer. I prefer my fingers, but if you prefer a brush or a sponge, it works beautiful with all of those. And it just gives me like that flush that looks very skin-like because it is a matte finish. So if you did apply it, I mentioned this in my e.l.f. video, if you did apply it over a matte base, it would look matte. It wouldn't look super dewy. If you apply it over a dewy base, it's obviously gonna give it a more dewy look. And the texture of these, I have one of the Nars Air Matte blushes, the same texture. It's the same texture when you blend it out. It does feel different in the pan because these are like pressed cream and those have a bit more air to them. They're like more of like a moussey texture in there, but the way they blend out, it's the same. It's the same. Yeah, so these are great. You should definitely try them. Even if you don't like cream blush, if you don't like the look of dewy blush on your face, these are the cream blushes for you. You should try them. And they're e.l.f. They're so cheap. I think these are $5 a piece or something. So cheap. Next, I have 2 different blush formulas from this brand. These are the Milani blushes. First, let's talk about the Milani Cheek Kiss blushes. You guys haven't seen this video yet, but there is a video coming of Full Face of Milani where I tried out a lot of Milani stuff and I wore these blushes. Actually, I think I wore a different formula in that video, but these are definitely my favorite blushes from Milani. I really love this Cheek Kiss blush formula. It is really, really thin and it's very, very balmy and dewy, but it dries down to like a nice natural finish. And this is the one called Merlot Moment. It's a nice berry shade. And it just shears out so beautifully. It's not too pigmented. It's not like not pigmented enough. It builds and shears out and just blends so perfectly on the skin. I find them to be just pigmented enough because if a blush, especially a cream blush, is not pigmented enough, you know, blushes fade pretty easily and they can fade into just like looking like nothing. But these have a beautiful amount of pigment and really last very well on the skin, and I love them. And they do dry down to, I'd say like a skinish finish. They're not matte at all, but they do look dewy. They look like your skin, like a healthy kind of skin look. Whereas these are the liquid blushes. This is the Cheek, oh, they're both called Cheek Kiss. So this is the Cheek Kiss Cream Blush. And this is the Cheek Kiss Liquid Blush. Interesting. And I have the shade 110 Nude Flush. I do want to pick up a couple of the shades of this because I do like this formula so much. And these are very different from the Flower Blush Bombs because these have high pigment and I think they dry down to more of like a matte finish. As you can see right here, it's a really beautiful warm nude and it's highly pigmented, but also you can really sheer it out and it's just beautiful. Wow, I just have so much blush on my arm right now. But I don't think I mentioned the other shades I have in this, but you can see everything that I have for Milani in the Milani video that will be coming up soon. Or if you're, oh, I just rolled that all the way over there. Anyway, but I didn't mention the shades I have in this. I have the shade Coral Crush right here, which is like a classic coral. This is the shade Nude Kiss, which is like a pinky nude. And then the shade I swatched, which was Merlot Moment, which is a beautiful wine berry color. So that's the Milani blushes. I'm so excited that we have these cream blush options at the drugstore. A lot of these are recent, like both the Milani blushes and the e.l.f. have only launched in the last year. And I'm just so excited that we're getting more cream blush, and please, Lord, give me more cream bronzers at the drugstore. It's great because for a long time, and a lot of my other favorites from here on, those are all my drugstore ones. These are all higher end, and that's where you can find these beautiful cream formulas. But now we're starting to get them at the drugstore, which is super exciting. So moving on. Oh, this is a good one. This is from Patrick Ta with this filthy packaging because I use it so much. This is the Patrick Ta Double Take Cream and Powder Blush in the shade She's So LA. Now, you guys have definitely seen me use this on my channel before. This is a blush duo that has a cream up here and then a powder down here. It has a little flappy flap that separates them. And they're both supposed to be the same shade essentially, but they do look slightly different. There is a brush hair in this cream, but they're basically the same shade. They're both basically a warm brownie nude. And I actually quite like both of the formulas. So one thing, I really like Patrick Ta and his brand and what he's brought out so far. But you know, I found with his initial launch, he launched 4 powder blushes, and I bought one and I liked it okay. But then when he came out with these and I got this shade, I found that the powder in this duo was like much more pigmented and more lightly pressed than the other formula he originally released, which was like the monochromatic moment collection or whatever. Anyway, and I really prefer this blush formula in general to like any of his other formula that he released. There are 4 shades of this double take. This is just the shade that worked best for me personally and what I like in blushes, which is warm nudes. That's what I like. And I swatched both the powder and the cream here. As you can see, this is the powder, this is the cream. And I mean, this is just a simple, like just me dipping like a little swatch into the powder, and it is like, it's full pigment. It's beautiful. And he actually recommends the way when these first came out, he recommended applying these together and actually applying the powder first and then going over with the cream to give it like that dewy skin-like kind of look, which is what we're all here for when you're going for a cream blush look. You want it to look like your skin texture, make your skin texture look nice and creamy and not powdery and cakey. But for a long time, and I'd say it's a general rule if you knew anything about makeup to always apply your creams first and then apply powders on top. Don't ever apply creams on top of powders. But I'd say that's really changed a lot in the last maybe even year and a half, 2 years, quite recent. That's started to change, and it's something that I implement pretty regularly. Like, it totally depends on how much powder you put down, what kind of powder it is, and where you apply the powder is a big thing. With COVID and wearing masks, I have been using a lot more powder recently, and I have a new powder favorite that I'm dying to talk about. So if you guys want to see a video about how I apply creams on top of powdering my face, let me know. Let me know if you're interested in that. Okay, next, there's only this and one other powder blush formula in this video, if you don't count the Todd Duo. And I'm telling y'all, there's some good ones. And these are brand freaking new, but the moment that I touched them with my finger and put them on my face, they were immediately in my favorites. I'm obsessed. These are the new Vive Sunset Blushes. I have the shades, this one is Pesca and this one is Piazza. If you guys don't know, how do you not know, honestly? Jamie Genevieve has a brand. She is a YouTuber from Scotland, and she came out with a brand end of last year. I believe it was November, and I did a whole video, first impressions, unboxing my order from them and trying everything out for the first time. And when I saw these blushes, I was like, oh, powder blush, not my fave. But her launch video talking about the blushes in detail and stuff and the formula and the colors, that's what really got me. This blush, it's not matte. It looks like just basic color in the pan, but I'm telling you guys, there is a slight sheen to this. But yeah, she spoke about in her video that this is not fully matte. There is a small amount of shimmer in it, and you can't see it. It's not visible to the eye. Like when you just look at the pan, you can't see it, but you can feel it in the way that it feels when you touch it. It is, and you know what? To my naked eye here, when I look at it, like when I'm like examining it in the light, I can see a small amount of shimmer in it, but you really can't tell. But anyway, not the point. These are so beautiful. They're definitely not like any other powder blush that I've ever felt. The other formula that I have in here that I love that is powder is baked. So this is a completely different formula. These, they swatch like butter. I mean, it's not like a powder eyeshadow or any other powder blush, honestly, that's matte. Like these have some, I mean, you can see there, it is slightly reflective. There is some glow to it. This formula, the way they blend on the face, and I actually did like a whole eye look with the two of these because I was so excited the moment I got them last week, but I've been wearing them a ton. And Pesca is right here. It is a gorgeous, very, very light, just peachy color. And then Piazza was the color that I was like, oh. It's a deep, brownish, warm, almost like a bronzer color, but with a little bit more red to it. It's still one of those shades, and I have other shades like this in my cream formulas that I love, but I've never had a powder shade look like this. Or I've never found a powder that looked quite like this. The Patrick Toshi So LA comes close, but it's not quite warm. It's not quite like warm and browny enough. This has like a reddishness to it that makes it, gives it that nice like sun-kissed look on the face. Like if I just kind of dust this across my face, it totally just looks like I've been in the sun and I have like a little bit of color on my face from just being in the sun. Oh, chef's kiss. These are beautiful. And I'm just so excited. If I had to pick one makeup product that doesn't excite me like pretty much any other makeup product does, yeah, I think this is true. I get excited about mascaras even. Maybe brow products would come close and face powders. But powder blushes, least exciting product to me. If Jamie Genevieve, if Vive, this brand, can get me excited about a powder blush, me, who has 2 powder blush formulas in my whole blush favorites video, she's doing something right. I'm so excited for everything that she's gonna come out with. I mean, she's just, her eyeshadow palette is literally like one of my favorites of all time. It's like one of the main eyeshadow palettes that I use on a regular basis now. I'm like, forget all these other ones. I'm just using my Vive. Anyway, I'm gonna stop, but these are great. If you see a shade that you like, she came out with some gorgeous shades. There's only 5 shades so far. She has a small brand just starting. There's these 2 shades, and then there's like a true pink, which also looks kind of, I've never wanted to buy a powder pink blush, but there's this one called Sorbet that's like a coral pink. I kind of want it. And I'm like, I don't even like powder blush, especially powder pink blush. I don't even like pink blush. What's happening to me? I think that we're in a wave of like blush being a big thing here in the next few years. We were in a phase of highlighter for a few years, like back in 2015, 16 to 17-ish, I'd say. Even to 18, it kind of like fell over, you know? People started getting uninterested, and now the new thing I think is blush, and people are just bringing out a lot of blush formulas, and I'm honestly here for it, and I'm all up on that train. So, very excited about those. Next is one of the most OG favorites I have as far as cream blush. Like, this is probably as old as my Honest Beauty cream blush even. I've had this for a minute. This is my Kosas Tropic Equinox Color and Light Cream Duo. This is like, if I had to pick one blush color to wear for the rest of my life, it'd be this blush. I also love the highlighter in here, so we'll just, you know, say that. But the light's kind of reflecting because it's so dewy. So this is the shade Tropic Equinox. They actually came out with like, where they have high intensity versions of their blush formulas, which is kind of weird. I think actually that would actually be really beautiful for deeper skins if you really wanted something to be really high pigment. And for those of us with fairer skin, it's nice when something is a little bit more sheer, a little bit more buildable, so that any color can really work on anybody, you know? So that might be the reason they did that. I don't really know, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. But anyway, they have several different colorways in this formula. This is their original formula. They actually ended up coming out with powder versions of this as well. So if you prefer powder, I don't know what you're doing here, but there are powder options from Kosas. If you don't know what Kosas is even, I've mentioned them here on my channel a few times. They definitely in my like clean beauty video, which that was a long time ago. I'm thinking about doing another one. If you are interested in clean beauty brands, let a girl know. But this is one of my first like cream blushes that I was really interested in when I first started hearing why I might prefer cream blush to powder, because it just wasn't a big thing a few years ago. It just wasn't a thing that people talked about at all. So anyway, I picked this up because it definitely just looked like the most me, and I honestly thought this color might even be more of a bronzer color, which it kind of is, but it's too orange to be a bronzer color, definitely. But it is beautiful. This formula is chef's kiss for me. Like, wouldn't change a thing. Wouldn't change a thing. It is my perfect summer blush. I love to wear this in the summer all day or day. It's dewy, but honestly, like, it's a little thicker than some of these other ones. Now that I'm like comparing them by like swatching them, you know, one after another, I'm definitely feeling a lot more of a difference. This almost feels thicker and not as balmy, not as like wet. This is more creamy than like dewy and balmy. You know what I mean? It's more of like a true cream. And honestly, like, these do like kind of solidify in the cold, and like you have to warm it up with your finger kind of a thing. They're like a true cream in that way. I also love the highlighter. I'll just show you guys that real quick. I love this because I can wear both of these, and it's like something that I take with me if I'm traveling or something, which who does that anymore, but you know. It's a really, really beautiful, warm, champagne-y, peachy kind of undertone highlighter. It's also dewy and beautiful in every way. But this is definitely an OG favorite for me. I would like to purchase more colors in it, but I honestly just forget. I just forget because I get distracted about like new things like the e.l.f. stuff and stuff that comes out. But like my OG favorites like these, like I need to go get other colors so that like maybe this isn't, maybe these aren't even my favorite colors in the range. Maybe there's another color out there waiting for me, calling my name, saying Madison. We could be soulmates, we could be together, but you're just out here playing the field, and you could be in a committed relationship with me. So maybe I should really dive into that. Anyway, this is definitely an OG favorite for me. Would recommend. This formula is beautiful in every way. That's that. Okay, so next, these are the Fenty Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Blushes. I have 2 shades here. One of them, the other one, best of all time. My favorite shade in this is the shade Rose Latte, which I think is the deepest, maybe? I don't know. This is a beautiful blush. Oh, it's kind of dirty, sorry. Cream blushes, you know, when you just stick your brush in there and rub them around, it's like it gets everywhere on the packaging, and it just is what it is. Just dropped it. That was like the grossest scream. I sounded like an old man, like falling. What is wrong with me? My favorite shade. My favorite shade is Rose Latte. Now, this shade is stunning. It is a nude brown. It has most of my favorite blushes are. Oh, let me wipe this other color off so you can see. This is like a brownie color, but it does have like a rose undertone to it. It's like a warm rose, warm deep rose is what I would call this. And it just looks on my face. Like when I put this on my face, it's just like my cheeks are naturally flushed. It doesn't even look like I've necessarily put blush on. And this blush does sheer out so beautifully. It's more of a balmy blush, but I'd say it's not super balmy. Like when you blend it out, it definitely like gets less balmy. You can really spread it out in a nice thin layer. Like right now, it's pretty much dried down on my hand already. Not dried down to like a matte finish, but dried down to like that thin, creamy. I call it like a skin texture. Like I call it like a skin texture. It totally like adopts that thin layer, like adopts the texture of your skin, which is what I like about cream blushes. Anyway, really, really beautiful shade. That's what sticks out to me about this range, or the shades are really, really interesting. Because the other shade I have in this is the shade Fuego Flush, which is an orange, like a yellow orange, like a marigold kind of color. So comparing these two, this one I really just got because I was interested to see what it would even look like on my skin. There it is. I mean, it's straight up yellow, which yellow blush kind of became a thing last summer. It kind of got a little popular or something, which it looks kind of cool, but I don't know, it might be a little too yellow for me personally. And I did use it once or twice. I just can't remember how I felt about that because that was so long ago. Anyway, so one thing about these cream blushes that Fenty came out with is there were actually 2 finishes in the line. It mentions this on the Sephora website when you're reading through the shade descriptions. It says whatever color, and then it'll say if it has shimmer in it. Now that's the difference between these two, is this one has shimmer in it and this one doesn't. And I've heard a lot of people say they don't prefer the shades that have shimmer in it. And I can get why, because the shimmer can definitely emphasize texture, because especially you're putting it on the, you know, the apples of your cheeks, which is close to where you have your largest pores, you know? If you're a person like me who just puts blush like all in this vicinity, it's gonna be on those parts of your face where it's gonna emphasize those pores. And that's why I like a cream finish with no shimmer in it, because it just looks like your skin texture, and then when you add that shimmer in it, it kind of changes the game. So that's something to be aware of when you're shopping for a color in these blushes. Make sure that maybe it's one without the shimmer in it, because the ones without the shimmer in it, I think, are beautiful, and the formula is beautiful. And the formula is nice on these other ones, but the shimmer, if you have large pores in those areas, maybe stay away from. So that's the Fenty blushes. I really like that formula a lot as well. Now, oh, the next ones. Okay. Next is one of my favorite, I mean, this would be in my top 3. If I had to pick a top 3 formulas, blush formulas of all time, this would be in the top 3, no doubt. These are the Tower 28 Beach Please blushes. They're so pretty. So I have 3 shades here. One is new. So these are from the original. They originally released just 3 shades, and they're all called something hour. So I have Magic Hour, Golden Hour, and a new one called Power Hour. So they just released these other 3 shades like literally this week or last week. And my Sephora just happened to have this shade in stock in the store, and I was like, snatch that up. So this is obviously a cream blush. It is a gorgeous balmy formula. I freaking love this blush. Oh my gosh. If you want a dewy blush, these are the ones for you. They are gorgeous. They're so, so, so pretty. So we have Magic Hour, which is like a nudie pink color, but it's more like, it's like a nude. It's not too pink. It's like a solid nude with like a slight bit of pink. And then we have Golden Hour, which is like, oof, a delicious orange. Delicious orange. Oh, goodness. And then the newest one that I have here is called Power Hour, which is like a deep terracotta brown with like almost like some rosy undertones to it. These are so pretty. They just came out with these 3 newest shades. This was the only one that was available in stores, which I plan to get the others because, or at least one of the other ones, because they came out with this shade, a peach shade, which definitely getting. And then they came out with like a really deep berry, which would look so beautiful on deeper skin. Oh, but berry is not necessarily, it has to be like a lighter berry for me for it to work for me personally, but that's okay. This brand in general is just a beautiful, beautiful brand. I love everything that they've come out with so far. They only have cheek products and lip products right now. Yeah, and a face spray. But they only have blushes and bronzers and 1 highlighter and lip glosses and a face spray, which you guys know their lip gloss is like my favorite lip gloss of all time, which is no secret, and my lipstick is really coming off. I'm just gonna, lips were getting dry, I'm talking so much. Anyway, but yeah, the peachy shade I'm definitely gonna pick up. And then the other shade that they came out with in the original trio, which I'm honestly considering picking up, even though I don't like pinks very much, but I kind of want it, because what if I kind of like pink? I don't know. It's like a hot pink, and it's called Happy Hour, and it's cute. Anyway, this brand in general is just beautiful. They have a really nice price point. They're not super, super expensive. I think the blushes are $20 individually. And I really love their bronzer as well. Their Bronzino bronzer. Gorgeous, gorgeous formula. They really have beautiful, beautiful cream products. If you like dewy cream blushes, these are definitely ones you have to try. They are so good. They're so, so highly pigmented, but they're so easy to just sheer out. I actually quite like mixing them together as well. Like, what if I just mixed all 3 of these together? Look at that. Oh my gosh. BRB doing that on my face immediately. That's so pretty. But yeah, I quite like mixing these together as well. Previously, I just would mix these 2 shades together sometimes to create like a peachy shade, but now they have a peachy shade and I'm gonna get it. So anyway, these are beautiful. If you like cream blushes, if you're somebody who's about a dewy cream blush life, you should get these, even if you're like new at it, because these are really, really easy to apply. I often prefer to apply them with my fingers. Prefer to just tap them in and just blend them out that way. And that's all I have to say about those. The next brand I'm gonna be discussing is M Cosmetics. You guys already know, how much I love M Cosmetics. And they have 2 blush formulas. Yeah, so they have their Heaven's Glow powder blush, and they also have their Color Drop Serum Blush. Is that what it's called? They have a powder blush and they have liquid blush, and I love them both deeply. So this was the second powder formula that I was talking about earlier that I definitely love. Like I would pick these over some subpar cream blushes any day of the week. And I have all 3 shades, including the brand new shade in Venetian Rose. This shade is so pretty. It's so pretty. So as I mentioned earlier, as I was talking about the Vive blushes, these are a baked formula, which is really, really nice, and they are not matte in the slightest. These are some shiny, shiny, radiant blushes. So we have Venetian Rose, Faded Clementine, and the original one in Magic Hour. I'll swatch these for you guys because I know that's what you're thinking. You're like, Madison, swatch them, show us. Now you guys have seen me use the Faded Clementine one on my channel when I did a full face of M Cosmetics. Now this is a blush that's almost yellow that I can get behind. I don't know what it is, but the way this looks on my skin, woo! If you want to see the way it looks on my skin, you can watch that video and I'll link it up right here. And the original shade they came out with was actually in their original like full collection with like their first eyeshadow palette and everything, is this shade Magic Hour, which is a really nice light pinky peachy-ish shade. And then the newest one, oh, gorgeous, is Venetian Rose. And I wanted to swatch these next to each other so you could really see. Venetian Rose is much deeper. It's more leaning more mauve kind of a color, and it has like gold reflex in it, which makes it look a little bit more warm, which is so nice. And these shades just look, I mean, they look stunning on the skin. I've been applying this one a lot since I got it like the other week. They do just have like a glow to them, as you can see here. If I kind of turn my hand in the light, you can see they have some reflect to them. It's kind of hard to tell in the back of my hand because I can't move it as well. What if I swatch them on my palm? The shade Magic Hour is definitely like the fairest. It's really light. I think it would work best on like light skin tones. And then Faded Clementine would look beautiful on like anywhere from light to medium tan skin tones. And I think, I don't know, I haven't seen it on a really deep skin tone. I bet it would look really pretty too. But Venetian Rose especially, definitely on all skin tones, beautiful. Yeah, you can see that reflect there. They are very, very radiant and reflective. They're just stunning, and they are baked formula. Yeah, Venetian Rose has like a gold reflect to it. And the shade Magic Hour has like a pink reflect to it, like it actually has pink pearl in it, which I can see. And then Faded Clementine is like orangey, gold, yellowy stunningness. Okay, so the other formula they have is the Serum Blushes, the Color Drop Serum Blushes. I have 4 shades here. I have the shade Sunset Sky, Venetian Rose, Rose Milk, and Peachy Peach. Rose Milk and Sunset Sky were from the original 4 shades they launched. And then recently, like late last year, they launched 4 new shades, which included Venetian Rose and Peachy Peach. They actually launched the Serum Blush in Venetian Rose before the newest powder blush, the Heaven's Glow blush, recently, because that came out on Valentine's Day. And these came out late last year or mid last year. 2020 is just a blur to all of us, let's be honest. So these come in this cute little packaging. You use the dropper to dispense them, which a lot of people have had malfunctions with. And all of mine, besides Rose Milk from the original 4 that they came out with, actually work great. Rose Milk is a little bit more, it's kind of wiggly and janky, and sometimes it doesn't suck up the product in there and stuff. I don't know, which is kind of annoying. Let me just show you guys the 4 shades that I have. So here they are here, kind of swatched out. As you can see, they aren't called Serum Blushes for nothing, folks. They are dewy. They are, I mean, like a serum, but in blush form. I'd say the most comparable to these as far as like a dupe would be the Blush Bomb. Is that right? Blush Bomb from Flower Beauty, because they are dewy and sheer like that, but these have a bit more pigment to them. It's almost hard to show you the color because they're so reflective. They are really, really beautiful. So starting over here, I have Sunset Sky, Peachy Peach, Venetian Rose, and then Rose Milk. So here they are up real close so you can see. They are really, really beautiful. I love the way they look blended out on my cheeks. I just think they look like a color just coming from within almost, because they are such a thin and spreadable formula. It looks like it's just kind of coming from within my skin, and I honestly sometimes don't even need to apply highlighter because it just makes my face look so glowy. Beautiful. They're really, really nice formula. They're not for everybody, but you know, if that's not your game, then these might be your game, you know? Like if you are into the dewy cheek thing, you will live for those. They're so beautiful. So that's it for M Cosmetics. One more brand to talk about, which is like one of the OGs for cream blushes. and that is Nude Sticks. Now, a while back, I did a full face of Nude Sticks, which I'll link up here for you guys if you haven't seen that yet. These are their Nudies all over face colors, and I have my 3 favorite shades here to show you guys. So here they are on my hand, and these are the shades In the Nude, Sun-Kissed, and Beach Babe. So these are my 3 favorites for sure, and these are all over face colors. They call Beach Babe and Sun-Kissed, they're called Nudies Matte All Over Face Bronze Color, which I prefer them as blushes personally. Probably because I like bronzy kind of colors as blushes. So if you like these undertones for your bronzer, that's fine. I prefer their shade and their bronzer shade in Bondi Bay for me personally, but they have quite a few bronzer shades that they call bronzers. You don't have to use them that way. They're called all over face colors for a reason. You use them where? Oh, almost dropped. You use them just wherever you want. So they do call them all over matte face color, but I don't find them to be super matte. I think they probably would give you almost like a satin look to the face, but without it feeling drying like matte. They are very, very long lasting because they are meant to be a matte finish. These are definitely a classic. They're very, very pigmented, so a little goes a really long way with these. Honestly, they have so many shades of this formula. There's definitely a shade for you there. Now the other formula from them is a newer one. I don't know if they released it last year or the year before. I feel like maybe 2019. That feels more correct. Yeah, I don't know. But these are the magnetic lip plush paints. So they actually are called the lip plush paints, but these are a soft matte formula, and I definitely prefer to use these on my cheeks the most. I have worn them on my lips as well. They don't last super long on my lips, so I do love the way they look on my cheeks. I don't like matte formulas, you guys know, but the way this kind of wears, it looks matte. It looks like that soft matte look, but it doesn't feel matte at all. They're very, very, very lightweight. You barely feel them on your face at all. It's really, really beautiful. So here I have the shades Saint Tropez, Bahama Mama, and Hot Paprika. And they are really, really nice. And the thing I love about these is they're matte, but they're sheer. They're really, really sheer. You can blend them out so much. And they're just like that nice sheer tint. And it gives you that soft matte kind of blurring effect to your cheeks. So it's nice if you're just having like a rough skin day. This would be the cream blush to put on over top of it. And I have worn these on my eyes as well, and I think they're nice on the eyes. They don't last super well. I find they last the best on the cheeks, and I find they last really, really well on the cheeks. So that is my last blush favorite. This was probably one of the favorites videos that I've had the most products for thus far. Definitely the most products for any of my favorites videos thus far. But yeah, those are all my blush favorites. I'll have all the blush formulas listed down below, like the individuals. I'm not gonna list all the shades because that's a lot, because I have multiple shades of each of these. So you'll just have to go back to where I mentioned it in the video to check out the shades. Or honestly, I don't like mentioning the shades because it's whatever you prefer. It's like these formulas that I recommend, I trust all the shades. They're great. So whatever shade you prefer, you go for it, you know? So let me know how you guys are liking these favorites videos. If you have any of the same favorites as me, let me know so we can be excited about it together. Let me know some of your favorite blush formulas, because if I haven't tried them, like, I wanna try them. I would like to try your favorites. That would be so fun. That would be so fun if eventually, we're getting really close to 100 subscribers, you guys. Let me just say that. We're getting real close, so I'm excited about it. Thanks, you guys. Yeah, well, that is everything for me today, you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys are loving this favorite series so far. Make sure to catch up on my videos if you missed any here in the last few weeks. I know that we've been kind of random as far as uploading times, so that's our fault, sorry. Personal struggles. Anyway, that's it for this week, so I will just see you guys in my next video. Bye.